to the UNDP. Have time to speed up and make up for the losses. Let me highlight two important points in this regard. First, there can be no sustainable development without peace, and no peace without sustainable development. Peace and development are simply two sides of the coin. On one hand, peace is a key component of sustainable development. Conflicts have a destructive impact on every country's development. A healthy and stable environment is by all means necessary if we are to push forward the sustainability agenda and the SDGs. On the other hand, sustainable development can prevent conflicts. For ASEAN, sustainable development is one area of win-win cooperation in the South Asian region, as identified in the ASEAN Outlook on Indo-Pacific. Constructive cooperation in this area will help build trust and confidence and bring mutual benefit to all partners. The world has suffered enough already from the economy. We do not need the added stress of competition and rivalry. And this certainly brings us to the second point, and that is enhancing partnership, which have always been present in ASEAN journey towards sustainable development, and these partnerships are built upon a shared vision and goal that place people and the planet at the center. It has also enabled ASEAN to deliver far more than we could have done alone ourselves. The complementarities between the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, or the so-called Complementarity Initiative, have served as a regional catalyst and practical approach for driving the ASEAN community building process by simultaneously attaining the SDGs. In support of the Complementarity Initiative, the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies and Dialogue has been established in Bangkok to serve as one of the regional facilities to promote and coordinate ASEAN efforts on sustainable development cooperation. It also provides a platform for policy dialogue between ASEAN member states and between ASEAN and its external partners. Through synergies, whole of society approach, and multi-stakeholder engagement, we can forge meaningful partnership with the 2030 Agenda. Today's event, with the participation of a long-time partners of ASEAN, Australia, EU, UNDP.
We've simply gone back globally since the outbreak of the pandemic in early 2020. And 2 years later, the global economy remains fragile. The importance of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development has not receded. Indeed, I would argue that the urgency of the task has only increased, even as the years before the decade diminish. For Australia, as on all matters relating to Southeast Asia, ASEAN remains at the heart of our efforts to work with the region on implementation of the SDGs. As I have said consistently since I had the privilege of taking this position as Foreign Minister, we want to increase and deepen our engagement with Southeast Asia, which is in part why we have announced additional development assistance and the development of a Southeast Asian economic strategy to 2040. We share a world that is prosperous, that is peaceful, where all our peoples can cooperate, trade and thrive. And the SDGs are just so important to that goal. So with only 8 years left, we need to double down on concrete implementation, and we will do that with the parties of ASEAN. In part, this is through the ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific, through cooperation on the SDGs. In part, it is long-term economic recovery through the Digital Transformation and Future Skills Initiative, In part it is supporting environmental and climate change resilience, water security, clean energy through things like the Mekong-Australia Partnership, and in part it is through the trade agreements we have in place, the ASEAN Australia-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement and the RCEP, which offer solid foundations for future growth and a sustainable post-COVID-19 recovery. We also want to work to close the gap within ASEAN, so between ASEAN nations. And we want to continue to be a willing, ready partner to the countries of Southeast Asia as we were in the development of the Centre for Public Health Emergencies and Emerging Diseases. So I say to you, with ASEAN as entity and with ASEAN nations in order to achieve them.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I now have the honor to invite...
A very good afternoon to you all. I'm honored to join you today at this event exposing this very important initiative, which provide a platform for ASEAN to share its experience. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought about multi-dimensional challenges and negatively impact the life of our people. Since its onset, almost 10 million people in the region were pushed back to extreme poverty, hampering 2 decades of progress on poverty alleviation. However, 2 years since the outbreak, I am pleased to share that ASEAN is on track towards its post-pandemic recovery goals, which has been possible through efforts that leverage regional cooperation to pursue inclusive, sustainable development. Notably, our strong cooperation has resulted in a positive sign vaccinated, and more than 31% have received at least booster shot. Additionally, there has been increased initiative in enabling the regions to build back better and secure durable risk on the implementation of SDGs have been affected by pandemic, making a whole of ASEAN approach to sustainable a more resilient future. To this end, allow me to share some of the initiatives that in 2019, ASEAN has launched more than 100 initiatives under strategy that were currently being implemented. In addition, through the leadership of Thailand, the high-level brainstorming dialogue on enhancing complementarity between the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development continues to be organized annually to review progress in the implementation roadmap. Furthermore, ASEAN's convened the ASEAN Ministerial Dialogue on Accelerating Action to Achieve SDG in September 2021, which among others highlighted the importance of mainstreaming sustainability principles in national development, commitment to pursue holistic approaches to resources, as well as sustainable consumption and production. I would like to also highlight that ASEAN is accelerating sustainability initiative in the region through the framework of circular economy for ASEAN Economic Community, which was adopted in October 2021, as well as ongoing development of the ASEAN Carbon Neutrality Plan. This initiative further reflects ASEAN's commitment to achieve resilient and resource-efficient economic growth, as well as creating a pathway to decarbonization and transition to low carbon economy. To complement our efforts in this endeavor to sustainable agriculture and improving alternative employment through micro and medium-scale green enterprises. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, ASEAN will continue to mainstream sustainable development and step up the promotion of socially responsible policymaking and its works. complementing the ASEAN Community 2025 as well as post-2025 vision. Indeed, stronger partnership and cooperation are key to our journey ahead, especially in the remaining 8 years to ensure the realization of SDG. In this regard, I would like to encourage international community to foster greater solidarity and partnership, which can be realized through many areas, including capacity building, transfers of technology, political stability, both at the global and regional level. I believe that the conducive environment is a prerequisite for continuous progress, both in fostering
moderator to join in the group photo session. Ladies and gentlemen, and this concludes our high-level segment for today.